Hey guys, and welcome back on my YouTube channel. It's your boy Troll. So in today's video we're gonna discuss about the top 5 AOE pure damage dealers. We are not going to count any HP burn, AOE, etc, even though they are amazing. We are going to talk about pure damage. Damage that where you're gonna go in, you want to one-shot them and not burn them. So let's jump into the list. So I asked a lot of beta, end game, late game players, a lot of whales as well, to be quite honest, and the top 3 was actually the same for most of them. I mean, the top 1 was actually the same for most of them, and the top 1 is Margarita. Yep, Margarita was said as the best of the best so far in terms of legendaries, AOE pure damage. Obviously when she has her E1, she's just amazing. Like, you can't compare her to anything. But even without her E1, she's still a very good AOE damage dealer. You get her for free, first of all, so I mean that gives you extra points as well, right? But overall, her ultimate, 3 stages of 300% damage, and you gain 3 layers of blade. And what does the layers of blade do? Well, once you have a stack of 4, because you can reduce it with skill ups, basically she's gonna release an AOE damage of 200% attack. However, if you have her exclusive, it will reduce the... no, wait, has 4 attack stages now and grants 1 more layer of blade. Yeah, basically with the exclusive one, how it works, you're gonna be able to do not the ultimate, and you will also basically release the passive at the same time. So that's why a lot of people want her E1, because you're gonna have a double AOE with just 1 spell. And that's also why a lot of people play her in the arena with Besiden, because she can just one-shot everything if she outspeeds everything. But yeah, regardless, Margarita is top 1. Then we're gonna go into top 2, and I totally agree with that choice. Sana, I have her on my free-to-play account. I have to say, she's just so good. And the thing is, like, even on bosses, she is amazing. And why? Because of her passive. She will basically increase gain Sharp's arrow, which will basically increase her speed and direct damage, and you can have up to 30 once fully skilled up. Believe me, her damage is crazy. So her ultimate, you're gonna basically get 50% crit rate for 2 turns before launching the attack, and then you're gonna launch 3 stages for 80% to all the enemies, and you're also gonna gain self 30% damage bonus. So, and additionally to, like, her ultimate is just so strong. And then on top of that, like, the piercing you have obviously against targets that has less 50%, but still, like, believe me, she does damage, and she also helps you to build her in a way where you don't need crit rate. If you have Sana and you add basically Besiden, I think you only need 10% crit rate, or you don't even need build any crit rate. You're just going to full crit damage attack, and you're just gonna one-shot everything. So it's really, really good. Then number 3, again, no surprise, I also love her, and I would love to have a free-to-play account with her, is Serena. Serena, not only by doing amazing damage, honestly huge damage, she also has this amazing shield and stealth that will basically help her to become a carry. She will be able to carry you a lot in the game, and overall she's just very good. Because of those feathers, her damage, oh my god, her damage is just, you don't even want to know. And then once she has enough of feathers, she evolves and does even more damage. The shield is even better. Like, you just don't want to go, like, you want her, but you don't want to go against her, that's for sure. So that's top 3. Top 4, I don't agree with it, and I think I just generally don't like the hero, and it's Slugdo. A lot of endgame players said that Slugdo is actually a very good AOE damage dealer. Me personally, I don't like him because I feel like he's okay-ish, but mostly in PvP. And without exclusive, I just don't see him shining that much. So, I mean, it's the same as Margaret and Sana and Serena, and not Serena, but you're gonna have different stages. Then when he does attack, then he inflicts resist buff, and then he does more damage. His A2 spell 2, basically you're gonna remove all their debuffs. So again, it really sounds like a PvP hero. Since we are still like what, 2 weeks I think after the launch, or 3 weeks, 2 weeks I think. I just don't want to give you advice on PvP heroes for now, because for now we need to basically try to go the higher in Dwarven dungeons, push the campaign, etc. So I don't want to give you advice on PvP, but regardless, a lot of people voted for him, so I cannot, you know, I have to like put my ego behind and choose what the public chose. So there you go, Slack though. And then number 5, we're gonna have also kind of PvP oriented. We're gonna have Mae. So Mae, it's kind of similar, like she's a very control-ish basically character, but she also does damage. Now yes, the 200% here, obviously you can skill up, doesn't seem so high, but it's also her passive who will do damage to targets that have a debuff. And since you're gonna apply a debuff, you're gonna basically do AOE kind of attack twice unless someone resists the effect. But like if you go into the arena, basically what she does is she puts the AOE on the last thing, and then you're like okay, and then there's additional damage and you don't know where is it coming from, and it's basically her passive, the thunder. So that's why she's also in top 5. But again, I also feel like this hero is mainly PvP. So yeah, let's go over it once again. Top 1 Marguerite, top 2 Sana, top 3 Serena, top 4 Slakto, top 5 Mae. Now I did Luz is obviously also are there, but he's just not as good as other heroes. I know plenty of you will say this one, etc. Again, this is my opinion. This is also opinion of the players that play with me. They're on my Discord. They help me to basically, you know, try to check, because I don't want to give you just my opinion. It's pointless. I might be wrong sometimes. So I always try to double check the information, and most of the players agreed with this list. So there you go. Again, like I said, I did not include AOE HP burn, even though they're amazing, because we are just talking about pure damage. Now, okay, Troll, it's all good or great. We know what heroes are good. Now, how do you build them? I really recommend to build them with this emblem tree. Now, you're gonna basically switch between defense and support. Like support is for Slakdo Mae, where you're gonna still need the effect hit, and you're gonna need to rely on the effect hit. If I'm not mistaken, to remove the buffs, you actually need effect hit, and Mae to place this, you know, attack debuff, you're gonna need effect hit as well. However, for Sana, Serena, and Margarita, I would really recommend attack and defense. I really think that's the best, especially for PvE. Obviously, we're gonna go into the crit rate here, then crit damage. We're gonna avoid anything that increase the dot damage, and we're also gonna avoid anything PvP. Now, if you build them only for PvP, obviously there are some talents that are just the better. And then we go into defense. We're gonna go for defense. We're gonna go for healed effect. We're gonna go for effect resistance again. Like I always say, you don't take those two, because if someone is dying, it kinda means you're gonna die as well. You might go for this one on an ally, or this, or not on an ally, on a carry. Like if you know you have 4 A1 and then 1 A5 who is supposed to carry, you might take this, but still, you don't want your heroes to die, especially late game. Then we're gonna go into control resistance and tenacity. Why? Because again, this is a dot. We don't care on most of the direct damage, and this is control for PvP. If you're going for PvP, obviously you can take this one and just take off the tenacity, or even maybe control. Now, control resistance is really good in the arena, so take off the tenacity. Then we go for more and more damage. Personally, I prefer this one, because even though this will, you know, instantly give you max HP if they hit you for 25%, this is 3 turns. Now I don't feel like this triggers multiple times within 1 turn. Honestly, I tried it on a boss, and I don't know if it's like a lag, like badly translated. Leave a comment if it's the same for you, but for me this only triggers 1 in a fight. Like, I don't know, I might be wrong. That's why I went for this. Now, if it's only me, and if you have this one that it actually triggers multiple times, especially on a boss, I really think this is better, because a boss can go for I don't know how many rounds, right? This is only for 3 waves, for 3 rounds during each wave. So overall, if you go against a boss, this is better. But for me, it's just not working so far. So again, leave me a comment if it works and if it's actually forever or if it's like once, twice. Let me know what's your experience. So that's all for the emblems. Sorry very much. For the auras, there are plenty. You can start first of all with the crit rate on your basic crit rate, basic attack crit rate. You can start this as a green one. Then you can go into the blue one that will increase your damage dealt, plus if they are under control against this PvP, but increasing the damage dealt is regardless of what you do. The leech, if your hero is a carry, you can also put leech, but then you're gonna need that crit. But eventually what you're gonna do, well, obviously, is the crit damage. You're gonna want to have that crit damage very high, and I think personally, I think that's the best one here for no, I think this one, yeah, this one is for me the best. The crit damage increase, especially once you are like, you know, near 100%. I mean, once you know that you're gonna crit damage a lot, I just think this one is better. And yes, you get the more crit rate when self HP is above 90%. So this is very high for arena, but the crit damage is overall, it doesn't apply to anything, so I just really like it. And then for the legendary, it was, I think, increased direct damage. Yeah. Yeah, so for the legendary, those two are great. For the legendary, it's very situational. Like, those two are great. They are great for PvP, great for bosses as well. But then this one is also great because you constantly, if you put this one on every hero, you're gonna constantly buff every single hero. You're gonna constantly have this damage increase as well. So it's really situational. Like, when it comes to legendary, anyway, we are very far from it. So that's why I'm saying you green, blue, and then eventually for the epic. By the time we are very late game and we actually can have the legendary ones, I'm sure a lot of strategies will come up, but that's how you should, like, you're supposed to aim for it. I think this one will be the best overall and just the safest. Now, if you lack survivability or if it's a carry, you either go into leech if you have enough of crit, or not, just HP restoration whenever you use a skill. That's for the auras, that's for the emblems. Now let's go into the gear. Now gear, obviously, it's a very simple strategy. You're gonna want to have crit rate as much as you can to minimum 80-90% before you can start focusing on crit damage. It's pointless to build crit damage if you don't crit. So at the very early, you don't care, you just put attack. You're not going to crit, you don't have the gear. So early game, early mid game, just go into attack, and if you can, a little bit of crit. But from like mid game, you're gonna start going all in into crit rate. And once you have that sweet 70-80%, when you know at least, like, I don't know, 4 out of 5 times you're gonna crit, you're gonna start switching into crit damage and slowly into attack. Those are the main stats you need. You don't need anything else on a pure damage dealer. And yeah, that's just the best for them. In terms of gear, well, obviously you're gonna go for crit rate and then eventually crit damage. But if we are talking about forge, there is two that I really like, honestly. So I don't recommend fearless set. You're gonna have crit rate, but leech and mastery, it's for very specific heroes, like for example holder. However, what I recommend is either the wild set or the slay set. I think those are the best one right now. This one, again, it just gives you survivability. So you might start, whenever you're gonna start the game, you're gonna want to aim for bloodthirsty set on your carry. Then mid game, you're gonna slowly try to get wild set or slay set, and then end game, I will say slay set is the best. Again, you can have a mix of both. Both of them are very good. It's up to you to understand if you need more crit rate or more crit damage. It will depend on your gear. But the choice is very simple. When it comes to pure damage dealers, we just want to crit. And then once we crit, we want to do a lot of crit damage. And then the crit damage is capped at one point. So we also need to put more attack to increase the cap of the crit damage. And that's the simple rule. You don't want speed on those nukers. You want speed boosters, supports that will let you go first, and you're just gonna make sure that you make this damage. I forgot for the artifacts. Well, again, it will depend on you. Either you go on the first one for crit. So where is it? Where are you? Now, the first one, you most probably you're gonna start with crit rate. Obviously you have crit damage because Lester has the passive that he basically gonna crit regardless. But for example, on my Sana, on my holder, I have crit rate. Then you're gonna go into attack flat, and then you're gonna go, I would suggest early for speed, honestly, and then end game you can go for attack. But early, I think speed will be overall better, and then I don't know, from the moment you're gonna have space, and just you're gonna have plenty of heroes who will allow you to go first and just survive. Even though if you don't go first, you can then switch into attack. But overall, the third artifact, speed, I think is the best for all the heroes. Speed is just amazing for everyone, but you just don't need as much as other heroes on those nukers. But yeah guys, I don't want to make the video any longer. I hope it helped you, explained you a little bit how it works. You also know which heroes are good or not, so if you get them, don't be disappointed, believe me. And yeah, besides that, I will see you in the next video, so make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and also guys, Twitch soon there, so make sure to join and follow. I will see you soon.